That's some good coffee. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday and hope y'all had a good Monday. Let's see, we'll take a look here in the chat, see who we got hanging out with us. We got John Howard. Let's see what time he hit that one. 6:16. Oh my gosh. Darren Bird's in the house. Good morning, Darren. Appreciate the thumbs up, y'all. George Rothfuss. That's it, Jack Jack. You already had them all. Says, good morning, all from southern Michigan. Morning, 39 degrees, feels like 34. Low will be 34. Temperatures near freezing. That would be 34. That's near freezing. A great day to work on my Gatton CNC, working on legs for the table today. All right, you ought to be able to knock that out. I mean, it's just legs. They don't have to be anything special. Just hold the table up. That's all. Let's see. Larry Gaunt's here. Good morning, Larry. Says the cool down starts tomorrow here in Texas. Yeah, it's starting today right here. It's I think it was about 52 this morning, but the high is only supposed to get up to about 67. It's windy. Man, I tell you, I was out here most of yesterday afternoon. Well, it was all afternoon playing on the lathe. And man, I don't know what the deal was, but I mean, it was just bam, 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 just one right after another. Either acorns falling off hitting this metal roof or the little small limbs and stuff. And it was just relentless. I was trying to shoot video. And of course, every 10 seconds it's bam. I'm like, this is going to be great. Probably just mute the sound and put music on or something. I don't know, but not a good day to shoot video yesterday. Just way too noisy out here. Let's see. Thomas Grimm is here. Good morning, Thomas. Ronald Cool. Good morning, sir. Steve Gronsky. Good to see you, Steve. Appreciate the thumbs up, buddy. Thomas says, I have tomatoes that appeared on volunteer plants that haven't ripened. Lots of tomatoes, but no signs of ripening. Closest thing to a tomato tree I've seen in years. It says, I guess covering it against frost is a forlorn hope. What happened to mine? My tomato plants were a big bust. Well, I say the plants weren't. They grew. I had the what do you call them now? I can't think of the name of them. But the ones that just grow and grow and grow. And man, I had tomato plants 8-10 feet tall. I had to run a string up, and they kept climbing up there. But I had one little old tomato that came, and it was kind of the same thing. It popped out late and just never ripened. I did get a few little cherry tomatoes out of my green stalk thing. I'm just going to do a whole new plan next year. I'm going to move my green stalk. I'm going to build a thing that's where it can roll around easier. I mean, it comes with some little things, but it's kind of hard. I'm going to build something a little more sturdy where you can roll it without it tipping over good. And I'm going to move the thing around to the front. There's a whole lot more sun in the front. And that ended up being my problem. I totally underestimated the amount of shade because these trees have grown so much and got so much taller that I think that was my biggest problem. I could grow the plants good, but I could not get the fruit to go because there just wasn't enough hours of sunlight. So we'll see. I'm not going to give up. Still hoping to get some good tomato sandwiches. Thankfully, all those little, because I went crazy putting the little seeds and getting the starch, growing them from the seed. And I gave a bunch of those away. And fortunately, those people brought me tomatoes. So they were still my tomatoes from the thing that I originally planted, but I didn't get any around here. But thankfully, they brought me some. So I had a few good tomato sandwiches this past summer. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get my chickens. I've been talking about the chickens, and I thought, do I want to bother with them? Because they are kind of a pain sometimes. But I think I may go ahead and get some chickens. That way, times get hard, I'll at least have some eggs to eat. Because you never know what's going to happen. I'm just not totally confident in the outlook of the way things are going. But chickens don't fail you, man. They'll lay. Those 3 I had before, man, it was very, very seldom a day would I come out here and there wouldn't be at least a couple of eggs in there. They were egg laying machines. All right, moving on here. We got Clyde. Guten Morgen. I guess that's, what is that, German or something? Dennis Nolan's here. Good Tuesday morning. Recovering from rain in Missouri. All right. Kevin Ells is here this morning. How you doing, Kevin? Always good to see you here on the coffee sessions. Gary Hammett's here. Good morning, sir. Paul Stewart. He says good morning and thumbs up. Man, y'all are nailing a thumbs up. We don't have that many watching, but we got an equal number of thumbs up, so that's good. Leo Steger says good morning, everyone. Work got in the way. That's why I'm like, dadgum pesky jobs. Gets in the way for me too. I did a little bit yesterday morning, and I've got to do a little bit of real work this morning, but I'm going to go ahead and, as soon as the coffee sessions is over, we're going to go ahead and get it knocked out. And then I'm going to come back out here and play. I'm going to try to find me something I can turn a little bowl out of, I think. Got lots of stuff. I need to start getting used up. Let's see. Who did I miss here? David Burnett's here. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the coffee sessions. I'm 418. 418. That's a lot. That's a lot of little coffee things. Because you figure 418, and I drink at least 1 cup, usually my second cup of the day. So 2 cups, that'd be 836 cups of coffee right there. And that's not counting the days I drink it when I don't do a coffee session. But that's a lot of coffee. Let's see. What we're going to talk about today. Already talked about the weather a little bit. Got a chance of rain Thursday, according to Joanne. Not much of one, though, I don't think. But yeah, it's winter sneaking in here, getting cooler. I doubt if you can hear it. Well, you probably heard that. I doubt if you can hear it, but I did leave the heater on. It was a wee bit nippy out here this morning. And bark's coming off of that thing. But feels pretty comfortable out here. Actually got hot yesterday. It got up. I think it got hotter than they said it was going to yesterday, because I know one thing I want to have to do. and some of them are so expensive. I don't understand why they're so expensive, but um, I'm gonna have to get a wood turning. They call them a smock, I think. Little thing you put on. And when I first saw those things, I'm like, I wonder why those guys wear those things. But after turning a little bit, I see why they wear those things. Because when you just wear a regular shirt, those shavings all stick to everything. I have made such a mess in my house tracking stuff in. And you get out here on the porch and I've even pulled my shirt off and shook it and all this stuff. But man, it just gets everywhere. Pockets will be full of that stuff. It's like, holy cow. So I'm thinking now I see why these guys wear those things, because a lot of times they'll have like a big pocket here on the chest, but it has this great big old flap that's like Velcro, so it stays covered up so that shavings don't get in there. And a lot of times they'll pull right up, almost like the old Nehru jackets. Remember those? I'm telling my age here, but the old little Nehru things that's what it looks like, where it keeps all the shavings from getting down in your going down your shirt and stuff. But they're made out, and I guess I don't know what the material is, but they're made out of something where the stuff doesn't really stick. It just falls right off. So I might break down and get one of them. But man, when you start looking at the nice ones, they're they're expensive to me anyway. 50, $60 or something like that. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I will spend that just for something to wear, but I think I will have to break down and at least get a cheap one or something, because it is a messy little hobby. Let's see here. What am I missing? Larry Galt says, I made an insert for my rigid R4512 using your V-carve plant with a little sanding. It worked good. What'd you make it out of, Larry? Did you use MDF or plywood, or just curious what you used? Yeah, I mean, I have the program where I can, throw a piece up there and cut one, and it will fit my rigid 4512 perfectly. But I'm sure not everybody's 4512. That's what tolerances are for. So, but like you said, with a little sanding, it should be able to get it to fit perfectly. MDF, yeah, I think that's a good choice, using the MDF. That's what I've got. I really got two of them that I use. I keep, well, you can see I can never point the right way. Right there. There's a spare. The last time I ran one, and I haven't even raised the blade up through that one. So that one's a spare. And then I have one that I've been using for a long time, and it's still pretty good. That's obviously a zero clearance insert. And then another one, which is a zero clearance insert, but I have my little ramp glued on the side of it. So when I cut segments, the segments fall off and get out of the way, so they don't hit that blade and come flinging back at you. Which, by the way, is not much fun if you're standing there and them things come at you. So, Larry said he added a slot for the splitter. Good deal. Good deal. I should do that, because when I got ready to do mine, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, you idiot, you didn't put the slot for that ain't work. So I just took mine off. And it's good to have that. It's good to have that on there. So Ronald says Dave's plans fit mine perfect. It wasn't really my plans. It's just I know how to reverse engineer stuff. I took the old, well, there you can see it right there, the old metal one that comes that has that big gap in it. Took it in the house, measured it carefully, and then cut one, try it out, tweaked it a little bit, but yeah, it's pretty nice, and it's great because once you have it, once you get that program all tweaked and stuff, as long as you don't sell that table saw, you're good. You never run out of those things. That way you don't have to be careful. If you screw one up, you just say, "Oh well, I cut another, throw it on there." That's one thing I would say. The CNC stuff is cool. So many people I would say probably most people get a CNC or want a CNC so that they can do little projects, signs and plaques and, whatever, kind of stuff. That's what they want. They want to be able to make stuff for their family and friends and maybe sell a few things, maybe do the craft fair thing or all that. But to me, the most I enjoy my CNC is not to do any of that stuff. It's when I'm doing something totally unrelated to CNC and I go, I need this fixture or this jig or this tool of some kind that will really help me do something else so much easier. And then you just, literally think of it, draw it up, cut it, and boom, you got it. And to me, that is just the coolest thing about a CNC is that, it's kind of like the way some guys think of a 3D printer thing. They're making all these little brackets and stuff. And I get that, but I'm just not a plastic guy. I don't like plastic stuff. But yeah, one of the things I'm going to do, I made that, let's see, it's probably been 3 or 4 months ago now, I guess, where I made that steady rest, the round thing with the little wheels on it, and made it for my Nova Comet 2. And it works perfect for that. But it doesn't quite fit this one, even though it's the same 12-inch swing. That part would work, although I really want to make that a little bigger. The little block, because the gap between the bed rails is wider on this. This lays quite a bit bigger than that as far as the bed. So I'm gonna just I'll still use the arms and all because they'll work fine, but I'm just gonna make the ring part that mounts to the lathe. I'm gonna make it about 4 inches bigger around. And then of course that block in the middle that it guides on, because you need that to be able to drop it in that slot and keep it from, you want to keep it perpendicular to the bed. And I already got the perfect piece of material. I love recycling free material. That's the other cool thing I like about CNCs is you can take stuff apart and get the wood off of it, or heck, you can go to like Goodwill or something, the Goodwill store or thrift store, and find some piece of furniture sometimes that somebody's, they're like, we're getting new stuff, we'll donate this, and then they sell, and you can get it for little or nothing, and it may not really be worth anything as whatever it is, say a dresser or something like that. But sometimes the wood on it's pretty cool, and you can use that to make a lot of other cool things just by, buying a dresser for $10 or something. So, but if you tried to go to the big box store and buy the wood that you need for that, it'd cost you $100 or more probably. But yeah, I've seen a lot of those, Clyde. Old bed headboards, and I've also seen a lot of YouTube videos where people take those and cut them up and make something cooler. Clyde says it's 43 Fahrenheit where he's at. So there's Rob Schuster. He snuck in here. He says 62 now, high of 73. All righty. Yeah, Larry says he uses recycled wood all the time. Yeah, I do too. I have, in fact, the that free treadmill that I got that allowed me to make my Harbormatic. I still have to laugh every time I say that because it's such a joke on towards the Powermatic thing, because that's what I'd really like to have sitting over there. But I'm not the gold standard, but it's the bronze standard. But anyway, so I had that free treadmill, which has made a really nice upgrade for that lathe. And then I've still got, I'm like, well, okay, what else can I use out of this treadmill? Well, this, again, this thing was built over 30 years ago. That's an old one. So it had some kind of a steel frame, but instead of a long steel frame, it had like a part that went on the front and a part that went on the back. And then to tie those two together, they used oak boards. And so I've taken it all apart and I've got those two oak boards, and I will be using that oak. I'm going to cut it into strips and probably add some kind of a contrasting color, maybe maple or something, to it, and make a segmented bowl. And I'm going to call it the treadmill bowl because it's basically made from the old rails that tied that metal frame together. And also another thing, talking about my steady rest, I'm going to use, there's a piece of oak veneered plywood that was the base of that thing that big belt ran over. And I saved the belt too. I don't know what I'll use it for, but I just can't throw stuff away when I get it. I've got the linear actuator thing that makes it raise up. And I figure, well, I hang on to that a few years. I'm liable to think of something to use that for. But yeah, I'm going to really get my money's worth out of that free treadmill, because I'm going to be making all kinds of stuff. But that piece of plywood is going to be plenty big enough to make the new steady rest parts for this bigger lathe. So I will be using that. Let's see here. Clyde says, I got one made from cherry I used. Okay. Mr. Jones is in the house. Good morning, David. How are you? Hope you're doing well. George says, my Gatton CNC table is all recycled wood from other projects of mine. I guess it pays to Bogart materials. Some people call me a hoarder. You're just a collector. Yeah. But a collection of wood today is like money in the bank. Yeah, they can call me whatever they want, but I absolutely love, when you don't need something anymore, instead of just throwing it on fire pit and burning it up or whatever. I like to try to take it apart. Sometimes I can't because I've realized when I made it the first time, I glued it, and then you can't get it apart. But a lot of things I just use deck screws. I'm a big fan of deck screws for screwing things together. And then you can easily take, and pocket hole screws. I love the pocket hole, my little pocket hole jig. That makes it easy to take things apart. But I love taking things apart and then just stacking the wood back up and then using that same wood for a totally different project. You know, I had that huge table down there where I had that CNC on. That table was 5 foot by 6 foot. I mean, it was huge. Well, then I decided I was going to take it apart. Well, as I was taking it apart, I thought, well, you know what? I'd really like to have a small thing, because that's basically what this is. This is about, I don't know, it's maybe 30 inches deep by about, I don't know, is that 5 foot? I think it's 5 foot. Maybe it's 4 foot. I don't know. But so anyway, I just, you know, because I made that using pocket holes and basically made face frames out of 2x4s. So it was easy just to, it's so modular. You just take it apart and kind of cut off what you don't want and pop it back in, screw it back together. And so now I've got another workbench down there that's, I think it's about 27 inches deep or so. And I think 5 feet long. It fits down there nice in that corner. I've got my my little Harbor Freight 4x36 belt sander. Got it sitting down there, as well as some other junk. But yeah, I love taking stuff apart and then finding another use for it. And some guys are the total opposite. You know, it's like every time they do a project, they're heading to Lowe's or Home Depot with their little cut list and starting all over again. I'm like, no, I don't like to do that. I like to look around, see what I have that I can use. And then if I come up short, then go buy the one or two 2x4s that I need to finish it. Well, good luck on your Gatton CNC thing, George. How close would you guess? Because I'm assuming it's not running if you're still working on the table. But how close would you guess you are to actually making chips with it? Just curious. Just curious. Well, it's almost time for my timer. I think I've got like 10 seconds left. So we'll get ready to wrap this one up. I'll give you a quick shot of the jack cam. Let you know what my helper's doing. There he is. He looks ready to go, doesn't he? It's been a rough morning. Yeah, been a rough morning so far. But he's, you know, he doesn't do a whole lot during the day. But just having him outside really wears him out because he's not sleeping. If he was in the house, he'd probably be sleeping. But just having him outside, you know, there's always these pesky little squirrels and chipmunks and other dogs barking in the neighborhood and stuff. So he's got to stay awake to do all that. And it just wears him out. So anyway, let's see. George says, hard to say. Got all the parts now a month away from running the CNC. Okay. Well, keep us posted. I like to know that stuff. I like to see when somebody gets it going. all that. Rob says, I see a nice stash of wood returning in the background. Well, let me look and see what you were looking at here. Yeah, all that. Well, I'm pointing this thing like you can see it, but you can't see it. All that stacked up. That's what I brought in about a week ago, I guess. That's all. Well, there's a few pieces of cherry, but most of that is poplar. And that's only about half of what I got. There's still a lot more than that sitting outside. And I have another big pile that I got years ago of cedar. So now that I'm getting used to this lathe and getting, it's a little bigger where I can turn bigger stuff, because a lot of that stuff is trunks this big. So I'll have to go out there and cut it up into bowl type blanks or something. George says, question on the tabletop. What are you using on the 2x4's cover? I'm not sure what you mean. When you watch my build, and this is totally optional, you don't have to do it. I just like to do it. I do it on most everything I make out of 2x4s because it just really makes everything come together really square. And that is, I will take it, because a 2x4, is about 1.5 by 3.5. And I like to take it and put it on the table saw and trim about 1/8 inch off of each side, which gets rid of that rounded thing. Now you've got 1.5 inch by 3 inches, but it's nice sharp corners. And if you have your table saw set up correctly, where you're cutting it really straight, not like that, when you go to put pocket hole screws in there, I mean, it just pulls it together. It automatically squares everything up, and you can get it really, really nice. Let's see. Rob says, I need to find some wood like that. I want to make some personalized wine bottles on the rotary. Yeah. Okay. Clyde's saying ply. I guess that's what he's talking about. Yeah, I use 3/4 plywood. Let me just say this and I'll get off here. You see how I do my plywood or my 2x4 frame out of cutting it down to get them square. And then I use 3/4 inch plywood over that. And in the videos, I did it like the plans where you drill all the holes and then you put the T-nuts up underneath. But I have since on my own CNC and on a couple of other CNCs bought the T-track from Orange Aluminum and just cut MDF strips. And then that way you're screwing the T-track into plywood. So you've got something solid that it's getting screwed into. And then put the MDF strips beside it, 3/4 MDF. And then that way you've got about 1/4 inch sticking up above the T-track. So you can cut for a long, long time before you need to resurface it. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for the thumbs up. It's so good to look over there and see that the number watching matches the number of thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I knew I could get you trained. I knew you weren't hopeless. Yeah. All right, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have an awesome Tuesday. If you're not doing nothing tomorrow for hump day, grab your cup of coffee and come back and we'll do number 419. See y'all.